Welcome back to the 20 and 20, take two. Round two, we're going backwards this time from the 20th all the way into the first arrondissement. If you don't know what a 20 and 20 is, it's when I go make a video in every arrondissement in Paris dedicated to the 5 favorite things that I love in each one of those arrondissements. It's not everything, it's not all inclusive because my guide has everything in it. That's at ParisInMyPocket.com. You can go grab that right now. 4 times as many recommendations as there as I'm going to be giving in this series, but that doesn't mean I can't share a whole bunch of really good stuff with you, just in case you're on your way to Paris right now. And be sure to stick around for probably the fanciest place I've ever gone for a drink tonight in the 16th, as well as where the heck is this location? If you've ever wondered for my 25 tips video, or just seen it maybe in other photos or other people's photos, I'll tell you, I'll get to it. Just hang around. If you're wondering where the heck this bridge is, because you've probably seen it in a million photos, I'm gonna tell you today. That's gonna be great. But first, before we get to this bridge and all the things that I love in the 16th arrondissement of Paris, we should probably go get coffee, just right up the hill. Let's get out of here. All right, this first one might seem a little bit weird at first, but this green fluffy building behind me is the Grande Épicerie de Paris. It's a really, really cool, fancy grocery store. And I know that you're thinking like, why would I go see a grocery store while I'm in Paris? Well, 2 reasons. One, maybe you wanna go on a little bit of a picnic and you don't know where to get all your supplies. This is gonna be pretty great. Also for like the tasty souvenir variety, like you'll find some fun, well-designed, delicious things in here. Chocolate might be among them. The other reason is because there's a coutume inside and there's not a lot of good coffee in the 16th. If you happen to find yourself over in Passy, we're just out in the 16th for some reason. You might be on your way to Bois de Boulogne, the big park, which we're not gonna look at today, but was in my last 20 and 20. That could be where you're doing a picnic, or maybe you're headed down to the river. I don't know, but this is gonna be a saving grace for you because the coutume inside makes delicious coffee. It's handy. They have all the accoutrements if you need to get, an AeroPress or a grinder or something while you're here to make your own coffee. It's all in there. And this place just generally inspires me to want to cook. Like it makes me wish that I had a kitchen. And if you didn't know I didn't have a kitchen, you haven't been watching me for very long apparently, but that's okay because then you didn't have to pity me for that until just now. The tragedy. It's not that tragic, don't worry. I needed this. I've been first cup of the coffee of the day, which is, you should never start without, which I did. I broke a rule this morning. It's a really cool little spot, and it's a great place to come just kind of get a break from it all. We're in the Passy neighborhood, so if you want to wander down the street to the covered market or any of the variety of other shops that are here, it's actually pretty quaint, and it's not far from one of my favorite spots along the river. And that's where we'll head next. Brought back into American consciousness, at least. In the movie Inception, you have Pont Bir Hakeim. Pont Bir Hakeim, which you can get to from Passy, the metro station, named after the little shopping district we were just in for coffee a minute ago. And that's where you're gonna get to this wooden bridge, at least. If you wanna get to the long, very famous trestles behind me, you can do it from either side of the river, but since we're in the 16th today, we're doing it from Passy. This is probably one of my favorite views of the Eiffel Tower, especially if you go down the river just a little bit farther, so walk away from the Eiffel Tower, look back, you'll have the bridge and the trains running in between you, both during the day and at night, and if you ride the metro along this line, then you get a wonderful view that you've seen a million times before from above the water. One of the things you really want to take advantage of, I'm gonna walk just over here and try to get a couple shots for you, but you want, like I said, to walk away from the bridge just a little bit to get it in your shot with the Eiffel Tower in the background. Even just crossing the street like I just did right there is gonna provide you with a shot like this. I think a lot of people end up just walking in the middle, blocking the bike path. Do be aware that there is a bike lane in the middle, so you don't wanna block it for too long. Get your shot and get out, just be conscientious. It's okay, we can share the space, but yeah, just be aware of that. But if you come over here to the sidewalk on the other side, you'll get the bridge in your shot with the Eiffel Tower behind you, which is really nice. You're gonna get a lot of shots of the Eiffel Tower all over the city, but it's gonna be kind of tricky to get it framed in some magical ways like this, and this is one of those really cool opportunities where if you just walk a little ways away down the river, there's a little bit of a sidewalk along the road down here. You want to be very careful, so instead go a little bit farther down to where there's a little bit more space, and then you'll find some angles that you can really use, especially with the trees and stuff. And don't forget that across from Île aux Cygnes, you have these epic arches. Make for some fantastic photos, especially if you want to get the arches in there. Out in the middle is also where you'll find this giant statue called La France Renaissante, or France Reborn, which I always thought looked a lot like a really epic Joan of Arc flying on a Pegasus. It's kind of the way that my brain always took it, but you've seen this in photos, I'm sure. This spot right in the middle of the bridge. Just walk on out, you'll find some good stuff. I love this bridge so much. It's such a cool bridge. It's beautiful. Basically the goal, if you're trying to follow along, is I'm gonna walk down from this side of the bridge over here, and then on this sidewalk under these trees above those cars, you'll find some really nice shots that'll frame it with the leaves, the bridge, the Eiffel Tower, maybe even your gorgeous face. If you do walk all the way down here, you'll find a nice little spot where you can turn around and walk along this very poorly maintained sidewalk along the road, along the river. It'll bring you to some pretty nice little spots for photos, maybe even. I wouldn't do a picnic here, let's be honest. Too many cars, but you'll get a couple of photos. How do you take a selfie? My selfie skills are terrible. One of my favorite buildings in the 16th and tiny little overlooked parks is in front of the Galliera Museum, and I've never been inside the Galliera, or the Fashion Museum of Paris, but today we're gonna rectify that, go on inside and check out their exhibition on fashion from 1997, apparently the fashion Big Bang. One thing that I learned while wandering around in here for this little exhibition that cost me 15 euros, which is pretty steep considering there was just like a little loop around inside a tiny room, but if you're really into fashion, you're really gonna love it. They have the costumes from The Fifth Element in here, which I didn't even know was a French film until today. And apparently the first time in history that a French film topped the box office in the United States. So that's pretty cool. The Galliera Museum, even if you don't want to go inside, if you're not that interested in fashion, is across from Palais de Tokyo, as well as the Modern Art Museum. Two locations that are conjoined, and honestly, I still don't fully understand exactly how to differentiate them the best in my lingo, but I've talked about it a lot in other videos, and in my guide, there's some really cool stuff over there that I definitely recommend you go check out. But I would rather that you not overlook the beautiful park across the street. There are no flowers in here yet, they're replanting them. The fountain is on. This little park is beautiful, a great spot for a tiny little picnic or just a break if you're tired of walking around and want to sit down on a bench. There are lots of benches, as well as lots of opportunities for some really nice photos with the beautiful architecture of this building and its wings, including a little cafe off to the side if you do want a snack, maybe a lunch with a view of the Eiffel Tower in the background. We're not gonna be doing lunch here though, because I've got a spot for you that's a little bit more up my avenue. Up my avenue. Feels like that should be a song. The 16th isn't really known for food, like in the street food style that I tend to go for off the beaten path. However, there's a really good spot that popped up that you might have seen in my sneaky sandwich video. We're gonna go there now. And don't forget, we're gonna be going to a really fancy little drink spot for my dad's belated birthday, possibly the fanciest drink spot you've seen in one of my videos. We'll have to find out. Speaking of one of my favorite shots of the Eiffel Tower, you might remember this from my 25 tips video. This is just to the right of Palais de Tokyo, and you want to make sure you pop in here for this beautiful view. The seating location is not actually open right now, but just so you know, it's here, as with so many other tips and tricks, and I just wanted to let you know the secret. A lot of people ask, where is this? It's here, Palais de Tokyo, the 16th, right here. Homer's been in a number of videos that I've done so far, and my friend Prashant actually does a lot of their photography. Surprise, surprise. Really delicious. Definitely on the more expensive side for a sandwich. This lobster roll costs 20 bucks, but it's delicious. And if you happen to be in the neighborhood and you happen to be hungry, I would say in general, the 16th is known for its architecture, its phenomenal museums. Really great place to walk around and kind of get an idea for what it feels to be bougie. On Victor Hugo, not far from here, we're on Avenue Victor Hugo right now. Some great shopping if you happen to be in the upper scale side of the shopping. And of course, Passy, where we were earlier, has got a little bit more of a villagey feel, but I generally would say plan on having lunch or dinner somewhere else. Most of my recommendations would be a little bit closer to the center and somewhere around these spots we're gonna get to. But if you find yourself here and you find yourself hungry and you're craving a sandwich, a decadent sandwich loaded with butter, lobster, mayonnaise, ciboulette. This is a brioche, a toasted brioche bun that it's put into. Maybe some truffle chips or some salt and vinegar chips. You're not gonna go wrong. You're gonna shell out a little bit for it, pun intended, but you're definitely going to enjoy every bite. Oh man. So buttery and so fresh. So I know I've been talking a big game about this really fancy place we're gonna go to for drinks tonight. I did take my dad there for a belated birthday drink. It's a Palace, which is like above a 5-star rating on a hotel. Also a private club. They wouldn't let us film in there. So we had to move on. The first time we tried to go to the place we're going to tonight, it also rained. So my dad's not here. I'm dressed differently. You know, the evening's going. It's still gonna be good, don't worry. Also, thanks to today's patron producer, Robert Colburn, one of my oldest patrons. He's not old. I mean, he's been around for a long time. 6 years, since 2017. I looked it up in March. That's crazy. Robert and all my patrons, thank you so much for making this possible. I wouldn't be able to do these things without you, like getting kicked out of palaces or taking Cooper for belated birthday drinks with my dad, who's not even here, and then going, well, you'll see, we're gonna go with some friends. It's gonna be great. Je ne veux pas travailler. Je ne veux pas déjeuner. Je veux seulement nous. Cheers.
Friends do not. That's right. It's not my first roll. They're pretty terrible with it.
Oh, that's delightful. We're at I actually don't know exactly how to pronounce it. Craven Cravant. It's a cocktail bar that when they opened, they won a whole bunch of awards, and the cocktails live up to the hype, and they're not too expensive, like 12, 14 euros. Delicious. This place is a delightful, like, blast from the past. If you believe the book, the cocktails that they have on the book are from like the 1930s, and I don't know exactly what era this storefront is harkening back to. If you have a guess, feel free to put it in the comments below. You might know better than I do, but it's a really wonderful addition to the 16th. It's a little bit far away. They've only been here for a few years, and it's worth a visit for sure. If you're into cocktails, I would definitely pop by for the atmosphere as much as for the drinks. It's just a really fun spot, and if you can sit outside, you're definitely gonna be in for a win. I got the Mad Collins, which is a gin drink with gin, ginger, lemon, and was it sparkling water, no cucumber. Very good though. And how's your whiskey sour? Is it good?
It's good.
And you're not even a gin fan. How's your gin drink?
I can't feel the booze.
Then perfect. You're not gonna feel the pain. Anyways, thanks for joining me for this delightful day on the 16th. That you might have noticed a costume change as the location, the temperature changed a little bit as well because we failed to come here that night because it was raining so hard, and also they ended up being closed. Just the way things go around here sometimes. But thank you so much for watching. Thanks to all my patrons for making this possible, and of course, we'll see you again next Friday for the 15th, and hopefully not too many more failures. Now that I'm in the future for when we originally filmed the 16th, there's a lot of failure, but it all turns out in the end. Don't you worry, stick around. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see the rest of the 20 Ronnie's months, and we'll see you again next week for all that. Genuinely just really good.